Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA. Online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Thursday, November 20. It's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, friends. I am in an undisclosed location, in an undisclosed basement, with an undisclosed person who I'm going to disclose in a second. But before I do that, happy Thanksgiving again. Before I do that, I'll need to do a little bit of opening Butler's mail. This was sent to me by a friend of the show, Brad Schick, and I'm opening it now. And I have no idea what it is, and it's hard to open. Let's see. It looks like a book. Yada da 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 da. Okay, friends, hold on. Oh, while I'm opening this, I'm going to hand the microphone over to Harold Naideau. If you don't know who Harold Naideau is, I think you're going to like this man. He came over for Thanksgiving, and he brought a Kiss photo of Ace Frehley. I'm gonna hand him the microphone.
Hi there. Yeah, my name's Harold. Just met Michael today. Told me he's doing these podcasts, and seems like everybody here is interested in Kiss. And going back a few years, I worked with them as a photographer, and gave our host a photo I did of Ace Frehley. You want to take this back and talk about your book?
Oh yeah, yes, we'll do that. I will get back to. We'll get back to Harold in a second. So this is sent to me by Brad Schick. Alice Cooper at 75 by Gary Graff. Thank you. Oh, look at this. Do you ever meet Alice Cooper? Or you ever photograph Alice Cooper?
I don't know him at all.
It's a great book. Thank you, Brad Schick. We're flipping through it. Good photos. I'm going to go through this. Thank you. Very, very thoughtful of you, Brad Schick. I'm a little nervous because the guy I'm with is kind of a... I don't know. I'm a little nervous because he's kind of legendary, and so you walked in, Walter. You walked into this place I'm at on Thanksgiving with a big photo of Ace Frehley. It looked like it's from maybe the Dynasty era. I'm not an authority on that era of Kiss, but I think it was probably around Dynasty. 1979, and there were some other photos on the kitchen of this house I'm at, and they were also taken by Walter. Harold. I'm out of it, friends. I'm out of it. No sleep.
I'll be Walter from now on.
Walter Harold Naideau. Harold Naideau is the father of one of the people at this place called, his name is Ryan. Tell me about photographing Kiss. First, he's also photographed Plasmatics. Great stories. I've listened to some of these stories, and I'm going to listen to them again. You hold the microphone.
Okay. Yeah, no, in 1979... I was working in a photo studio in Manhattan. I've been a commercial photographer my entire adult life. And
when did you start taking photographs?
Oh gosh, when I was 15 years old in high school. But I went to school. I went to Brooks Institute of Photography in California. Got a degree there. Got a degree from Antioch College in art. And then got a job working in New York City for a French fashion photographer as his assistant.
That was the first job?
Yeah, and traveled the world with him. And got back to New York, and he had a studio there, and that's where I really got into studio photography as his assistant. And that's where I met the gentleman in Kiss. And, Kiss... At the time, I was saying to Michael, I thought the most popular rock and roll band in the world.
1979, they were on top of the world. So you were doing fashion photography. So the fashion photographer got a job photographing Kiss. So you were the assistant on that. Then.
Right. And so we both worked on these shoots, and they were represented by an advertising agency called Howard Marks Advertising in New York. The only band I've ever heard of that had their own advertising agency.
Well, they were on Casablanca Records, and I have a friend named Joe Klein who's no longer with us. He did all the ads for Casablanca Records except for Kiss. they had their own advertising, their own radio promo guys. So I guess it's the same. They used all their own guys.
Yeah, yeah. And so our studio was used by a lot of people then. We photographed Rodney Dangerfield. Anybody remembers who Rodney was. Photographed Robin Williams at the time.
You did?
Yeah. Did his first album cover, which was called Reality, What a Concept.
Right,
I still
yep,
have
yep.
a copy of it at home. Funniest man I've ever met in my life. But getting back to Kiss, the band was about to do a tour of Australia.
In support of probably Dynasty. Whatever album came out in 70,
Yeah.
I think it's Dynasty.
And when you went to a Kiss concert, you got a book,
Tour program.
tour program that you paid for. And the tour program from Kiss was, 11 by 17. It was big,
they all
it was
were back then,
glossy,
yeah.
it was high quality paper.
Back
really
in the
beautiful.
70s, tour programs were the thing to get.
Yeah, and I still have a few, but they were absolutely beautiful. And so what they wanted was they wanted a photograph of each member of Kiss individually in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And the members of Kiss,
No full band shots.
no, not in
I
that
wonder
book.
why.
I don't know. Well, they probably had those also, but this was something special. And the members of Kiss got to determine what their photo was all about.
Yeah, they
were
got to
and what
pick
they
the theme
wanted.
of the photo, right.
Like I was saying, Gene Simmons wanted volcanoes going off behind him in the photo. Paul Stanley wanted a glamorous lover boy image. Eric Carr, it's Peter Criss, the drummer, wanted to be in a jungle, like he'd
Right,
killed a
he's a
woman.
cat, or killed a woman.
Right. We had a model who we put, fake
Yeah,
blood
yeah,
on later
right.
over a fake rock and stuff. So they each got to determine. And Ace, of course, just wanted to go with his costume like a space explorer,
So like he
an
was out in
adventurer.
space.
Yeah, yeah.
Which one was the nicest one of those four?
Probably Gene.
When they walked in, so you set up in the studio. Did you go into the studio? Did you meet them outside and you also said, come on in, or were you sitting in the studio waiting for them?
Oh, there was we met beforehand.
Okay.
Had to be planned out.
Did you meet for dinner or?
No, just at the ad
Oh,
agency.
okay.
But with Gene, for instance, he wanted volcanoes going off behind him to go with his costume, and so to do that in a photo studio, we had to build fake volcanoes to put behind him.
How big were the volcanoes?
Volcanoes? The studio's ceiling was about 12 feet, so they're about 10 feet high, two of them. And they were made out of, we had to hire a set builder to build them. And, a guy does movies and stuff like that. And I don't even know what he made them out of, wood and paper mache and stuff like that.
Yeah,
He
back when
painted
you were in
them.
high school, you made paper mache volcanoes. But
Right.
this was probably different. You had smoke coming out of it.
Right. Well, then to have them explode and be smoking while he was being photographed, we had to hire a pyrotechnician who installed whatever he used, inside flares or whatever, inside the
Right.
top of the volcano, and had to be there. He needed a licensed pyrotechnician to do the work there. And
Paul, yeah, go ahead.
so, no, I was going to say pause. Can I pause
Paul,
for a second?
Okay, we're back.
Okay, so anyway, so the band would so to get the set ready for Gene's photograph, like I said, it took a lot of work and a lot of setup, and so when the day came or the night came to photograph Gene, he showed up in costume, right, total Kiss regalia, and with his boots and everything on. He's 10 feet tall, and we were shooting film in those days. We were shooting with a Hasselblad, and you took 12 shots, one roll, right, before you had put another
You
roll
hold the
in.
camera, you hold the thing down, you
Yeah, it was on a tripod, and you just pushed it. But I'm saying there were only 12 shots on the roll, and then you had to stop and take the back off, put on another. Okay, so we knew we were going to get 12 shots of him once we started. We said go. And so the guy lights off the volcanoes, and we start shooting, bang, 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 bang. And we never got through all 12 shots, because after we got to about 6 or 8 shots into the roll, there was so much smoke in the studio that you couldn't see or breathe.
How big was the studio?
The studio was 20 by 30 feet.
Okay,
It was a
big
pretty
room,
big
big
studio, and filled with lights and our stands and our umbrellas and all that equipment, But yeah, we couldn't see, so we had to stop. And so what we did is the studio is located on 8th Avenue, right across from the Carnegie Deli in New York. And so we opened the windows, big windows, facing out onto the street, and the smoke, to air the room out. And the smoke goes pouring out the windows into the street. And we were just glad to get some fresh air to breathe, but we didn't think about what people outside would think. And they thought the building was on fire.
So they
because
called the fire department.
Yes, they saw all the smoke pouring out, so someone called the fire department. So as we're airing out the studio, there's a bang, bang, bang on the door. And
Open up, it's the fire department.
lo and behold.
With axes in their hand, getting ready to bust the door down.
Yes, exactly. Full regalia.
Right.
10 or 12,
They
New
have
York
a
City
hose
Fire
too,
Department.
A hose too, getting ready to wet the place. Too.
Everything. They had their masks, their hats, the axe.
Now, what did Gene do when this was happening?
Gene was just standing. None of us knew what was going on because all of a sudden the door opens and he was standing behind me. And I thought, oh my God, my career is over. I'm going to jail after this. And the fireman who had knocked under our, sees me, but looks over my shoulder and sees Gene Simmons. And all of a sudden, the fireman forgot why he was there.
Holy shit,
There's
there's
no
Kiss.
Yeah, there's no fire here.
What
It's
the
Kiss.
hell is going on?
Exactly. And
This is the first band you ever took photos of, was Kiss.
No, there were a lot of other
Okay,
bands.
I want to hear them too.
But they were, it was the disco era, so they were disco bands and stuff like that. You
And
probably
Kiss
heard of.
had the disco hit with this album, which was their biggest hit, I Was Made for Loving You.
Yeah. And so the firemen, all these guys in the hall, 12 guys, completely forgot there was a fire, just wanted to get in the studio and take a Polaroid with the band members and get a signed Polaroid.
So were the rest
Gene
of the
members.
band in there too, or just Gene?
The rest of them were in there too.
Oh, okay.
But you see, the studio had like a hallway that went from the studio down to the office at the other end of the hall. What they had done was brought with them a tremendous amount of cocaine.
That was the 70s and disco era. That's what happened.
That's
in the
why
70s
I'm
with
not sure I
disco.
should be telling you all this, but I'm already in over my head
Well,
here.
Ace is dead. Peter probably doesn't care, and Paul doesn't listen to this podcast. And Gene, was Gene doing coke too? No.
No, you see, that's
So
the
Gene
thing.
wasn't doing it either. So no one cares,
But so
except for me and listeners.
right, our secretaries had an office in the back with 2 desks, and they had emptied out so much cocaine on the desk, on her blotter, on her desk. The only thing I can equate it to was if you saw the movie Scarface, and at the end where Al Pacino is pouring it out onto his desk,
big,
and it's
huge
like a
pot.
mountain. Yes. So they're sitting back there with that.
Did they offer you any?
No, but I didn't want any. And
Okay.
I couldn't have done it. It was just, no. Anyway, and they didn't know me that well. You know what I mean? We had just met for a photo shoot. So they didn't really want the police, the firemen to go back there. So they never went back there. They stayed up in the front studio with Gene and everything. And all the other members of the band came forward so no one would go in the back.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, so that's how that worked out. That was the shoot with Gene, and like I was saying, the firemen were really happy that I was shooting Polaroids then.
So
as
they
well as
forgot
film.
about putting out the fire, no tickets, and
There was no fire. They
Everybody was
realized
happy, it was a good
right.
time.
The smoke was from the smoke machines and from the fake volcanoes.
This guy walked in the door of our Thanksgiving party, telling me these stories, friends. I love it.
And then the way it ended, after the firemen were satisfied that there was no fire, they said, "Tell you what we're going to do, guys. Continue on with your shooting," because we hadn't even gotten through a roll of film yet, maybe halfway through the first roll. So what we're going to do is we're going to park the hook and ladder truck out in front of the building here on 8th Avenue, put up the flashing lights, and seal off this part of 8th Avenue so no one will disturb you.
That's nice. So you already got all of the volcano photos, so they had to light the volcanoes again.
We had to light them again. We
Okay.
shot another roll or two.
Yeah.
And so then, so that was just the Gene story that I have. For
Now,
you.
did Gene? You told me something that Gene made you give him all the photos or all
Well,
the roll.
that's the one on top of the World Trade
okay,
Center.
different session. Okay.
Yes. All these photos that were shot there went to the ad agency. taking it with them.
Put it back towards you.
Okay, so what should I go into next?
What about the rest of the guys
okay,
in that section? What did they?
The rest of the guys came in one at a time on different days, right, during the same week. Like I said, Paul Stanley came in and we had built a set. Took a few days to take the studio down, the volcanoes, clean everything up, set up for Paul's shoot, which was all purples and pinks and velvet cushions and pillows.
Lover.
He was the lover, and he's holding a big glass of red wine.
Yeah, which I saw on the wall of the kitchen in here.
Right.
Yeah. With his finger in his mouth, seductively.
Yes. So he was the seducer.
Right. He looked gay.
So that was a relatively easy shoot to do.
Uh-huh.
You know, once we had a stylist come in and actually design all those pillows and make them and match the colors to his outfit.
Was the stylist a guy or a girl?
Girl.
Okay.
And so that was the Paul Stanley shoot. And then we did the drummer's shoot. Peter Criss wanted to be the hunter, kind of. And so we set up a jungle. We got all these plants.
Prey, the woman, the prey.
Exactly, that's what he wanted.
He ate her alive.
It looked like he had attacked
And
him.
guess where I'm going to start eating, girls? Okay.
Exactly. And so we got a florist to give us all these trees and plants to fill the studio with.
Right,
and
like a
fake
jungle.
plants. A complete jungle.
Yeah.
And set that up, and he put on his, costume, and we had a model come in who the makeup artist made it look like she had been bitten, was bleeding, and was half naked, and she's lying on the rock. So that was his shoot.
Right. I'm just walking through the woods half naked and got eaten by the cat man. All right, go ahead.
That's right. And then the last one was Ace, who was just kind of Ace. He didn't want to be any other persona. We didn't have to create an environment for him.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, he was
Nice
like this,
guy.
and his costume.
He's probably the nicest guy of all four of them.
He was, yes, he was, but he didn't have that much to say. He was kind of quiet.
Oh, okay. Because he was probably, I think he was on his way out of the band at that point. I could be wrong, but I think so.
And I mean, I have to say, very nice guy, but he was drinking really heavily.
Oh, really?
So
At that photo shoot, he was drinking heavily.
every time I
What was
ever
his
saw
drink
him.
of choice?
Remy Martin, VSOP.
Ah, okay. All right. Hard stuff. Well,
Right
I
out
don't
of
know
the
if it's hard-
bottle.
Harder than beer, I know that.
Yeah. Oh, right out of the bottle.
bottle.
Yeah, like you're drinking a water bottle.
Yeah,
you know. And it's funny. So these guys were heavy. They were doing a lot of everything.
I'm surprised Paul Stanley it was, but it's good to hear.
Yeah, but Gene wouldn't touch any of that stuff.
Clean
Gene
it sober.
wouldn't. He would go to the refrigerator. We had a kitchen in the studio, and keep Perrier in there. That's all he would have would be water. Wouldn't even drink tap water. He was very conscious of what he was putting in his body. It was very pure and had it together. You could tell he was the leader of the band.
Right, yeah.
He got things organized. He took control over situations. Those are the studio shoots with them. And then another shoot we did with them was they wanted a shot of the band. It's kind of complicated. They wanted the band together as a group, and behind them they wanted the skyline of Manhattan showing. So we shot that in Brooklyn on the Brooklyn Heights Promenade.
Okay.
And everybody showed up with their own limousine. Okay, so there was, Gene had a limo, and Paul had a limo, and I guess Peter had a limo, and Ace had a limo. But Ace not only had a limo, but Ace had a brand new Corvette convertible.
Did he drive the Corvette?
Well, I don't know if he drove it or not. Just some getting out of it, because he had this woman with him who was the penthouse pet of the month.
Okay, all right.
Unbelievably beautiful, voluptuous,
Hey,
incredible woman.
The biggest band in the world. Why
Yes.
not?
So he brought her.
It's good to be the king.
Yeah. And he brought her along with the Corvette.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they all got parked. We had a makeup artist.
Was he drinking Remy Martin at that date as well?
Oh, yeah. Totally in his hand. And so the makeup artist made sure everything was set. We photographed there for a little while. And then the plan was to drive across the bridge into Manhattan. And they had rented one of the towers. In this day,
World Trade Center.
there were the two towers of the World Trade Center. Kiss had rented one of them.
Wow.
Okay, one of the towers had an observation deck on the top. The other one had the windows on the World Restaurant and Bar in the Sky place and all that. Right. So they rented the tower that had the Observation deck.
I wonder how much that costs to rent. You got to sell a lot of albums to cover all their expenses to promote that album.
Unbelievable. Never imagined anything like this, or saw anything like this happen.
What did you think about all this big budget? Were you getting paid a lot of money?
No, I was getting paid a relatively small fee, but
because you were working for another company, or was
right? And I was working for the studio and for the ad agency, and you realized, hey, if I didn't want to do it, they'd find someone else. Yeah. This was an opportunity I couldn't pass up in a million years. So,
and, what was that? 79, 89. I think before, but at least 40 years later, you got a story to tell.
Yeah. And the buildings are gone, right?
Exactly.
And when I tell my kids and their friends and people about these stories, they can't imagine it, right? Because we can't show them what the World Trade Center looked like. You can't imagine what this was like.
Right.
Driving, and at the time, I think they were like the tallest buildings in the world. It was 107 floors to get to the top.
The World Trade Center photos, were those for the Australian tour book
yes,
as well?
Yes, okay. This was all for the Australian tour book.
That's a nice tour book.
Yeah, and so, okay, so we get there. Well, okay, so getting there, to get from Brooklyn Heights to the World Trade Center, we were a caravan of 4 or 5 limos and a Corvette, okay? So at this point, Ace was pretty much too inebriated to drive his own Corvette.
Right. Did the penthouse Paddock drive it?
No, but someone drove it for them. Okay. They got in one of the limos.
Okay.
And there was a limo that was the makeup trailer too, just like you see on a Hollywood set.
Right.
Okay, so he probably went with the makeup artist and stuff like that, and they were fixing their makeup as they went over. So, and so I got to drive in one of the limos because Gene's limo said, "Hey, no one's using my limo, take it." So my assistant, I had someone helping me, and myself got to, sit in Gene's limo and drive over to lead.
What was your assistant's name?
Chris.
Chris, are you still in touch with him?
Yeah, we're still friends. We're still friends. He's the guy I have to have back me up on these stories because they sound too incredible to be true.
Yeah, you're married.
Yeah.
You've told all these stories to your wife how many times?
Oh, gosh, who knows? She doesn't even listen to them anymore. She's heard me tell them so many times. Same with my kids.
Hey, it's good at a party.
It is. Well, I was so glad that you're interested because who else am I going to tell these to? And it's kind of nice to have a recording of this, to have a record of this stuff because other than my friend Chris, who would believe me?
And, there's a lot of
I'm glad you believe me because you saw the photos, but without the photos, would you believe me?
Yeah, that photo you brought today was great. What's your Instagram? What's your Instagram handle again?
Okay, my Instagram handle is LensCap, LENZCAP1.
LensCap1. I looked on there before you were coming because I was told that you're coming, and that Ryan's dad is coming, and he's a photographer. So I looked really good stuff. And there's a lot of those KISS World Trade Center photos are on that Instagram too.
Yeah, one by one I put them up. Yeah. But all right, so we get over the World Trade Center. Okay, the limos, and it's closed. Normally open,
they
but
shut it down
KISS
for you guys.
had paid so they could use it. No one else.
I wonder what that cost, man. It must have cost. Oh, how long was it shut down? How long was that shoot?
It took about an hour or so to do the shoot, but they probably had to close
rent it for the day or two.
Yeah, they probably had to close it for the night. Anyway, and that's only half of it. They rented a jet also, a private jet that took off from, I think it was the Kennedy, and the bottom of the jet was painted with the KISS logo.
Right.
Okay. So the plan was to get the band, the 4 guys in the band, up on top of the World Trade Center on the observation deck and have a jet fly in right over their heads. And as the jet was coming over their heads, Gene Simmons raised his arms and did his KISS, his KISS cape pose. Right, and bam, there's the jet right above him with the KISS logo. Okay, so we get over to the World Trade Center, and it's closed. There's this enormous garage. It could probably hold 1,000 cars. No one except our 4 limos. And at this point, 20 cops.
Were there piles of cocaine on that suit, too?
No. You know why? Because we were surrounded by cops.
Oh, okay.
Now cocaine, we can talk about it much more freely, but back in 1979, we'd all be in jail.
Well, everybody at Studio 54 was doing coke, so...
Yeah. So, but you couldn't do it with all these cops around. We were surrounded by motorcycle cops.
And these cops, did they How would they feel about Kiss? They were probably Kiss fans too.
They loved Kiss because every one of them who met Kiss or any of the band members wanted me to take a picture of them so they could take it home, get it signed, and show it to their kids.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like they listened to the music.
But the kids did.
They had kids who loved Kiss.
Yeah.
And they were a worldwide phenomenon.
And they were on Solid Gold that same year, which was like the big music show. You know, they did "I Was Made for Loving You."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get out of the car, get out of the limo, my assistant Chris and I, and we followed Gene into the elevator. And the elevators by themselves at the World Trade Center were pretty exceptional. They're the size of a small room, and they were really beautiful inside. You know, they were copper and silver and
Yeah, right.
really beautiful looking elevators. And the head of the police department gets in, the police commissioner gets in with his son, who's about 7 or 8 years old. I'm guessing.
What if he knew who Kiss was? 7-year-old.
Oh, he did.
He did. It was a Kiss
because
fan.
when he got in there, he was blown away. He was speechless. I thought he was going to cry or fall
That's
down.
great. That's
This
great.
little kid,
World's
right?
greatest dad.
Yes, his dad was taking him up there with Kiss.
Yeah.
Because the little boy said to me as we were going up in the elevator, because it took a few minutes, going up 107 floors, turned to me, said, he was almost shaking, goes, you know, if this isn't the real thing, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's good. Cute. That's cute.
I'll still remember him saying that to me. And of course, he made sure I took a picture of him and his dad with Gene and Polaroid and signed it and all that. And then a picture of just the boy with, Gene his arm around him and everything. So, the guys in Kiss and Gene in particular really appreciated their fans. Yeah. They would stop whatever they were doing to take a picture with you and give you a Polaroid. They really
Especially the police commissioner's kid.
Yeah, exactly. But you got the feeling that they were like this with their fans. They really wanted their fans to like them.
Yeah.
So anyway, we get out of the elevator, get onto the observation deck at the top of this tremendously huge building. It's dark, and there are lights up there. And Gene says to me, make sure you give me every shot you take.
Of course.
Because I had a 35 millimeter Nikon with a motor drive, and just like a machine gun.
So I guess his guy was gonna. I guess you edit the photo. You change the lighting and do that in post, or back then
there was no post then.
Back then you had to do it in the camera.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're already.
So it had to be exposed perfectly in the camera. Plus, if you think about a jet plane coming overhead, how many shots are you going to get off?
No, exactly.
2 or 3 or 4 or 5, depending on the motor drive. And the jet's gone. Didn't ever circle. It just went one pass, and that was it. Either you got it or you didn't.
Good thing you got it.
I got it.
Did you get it?
Well, I did get it, I think, because what I said to my assistant, Chris, is after Gene walked away, I said, Chris, put one roll in your back pocket.
Of course, you have to. I guarantee you they said that to every photographer, and every photographer did the same thing, I bet.
Yeah, maybe.
I would have.
So
You still had that roll?
Yeah. Well, it's not even a roll. It's 5 shots. Okay?
Oh, you only had 5 shots on that roll you kept?
Yes, because Gene was really...
Are those the ones that are in here? In the house here?
No, I have them at home.
So where did these come from? The ones that are in the house here on the wall?
These are all from the studio. These are all shot in the studio. They're not
Kiss approved.
Yes, and those were all done in the studio. But anyway, so I got away with a few shots. And I have one on my website and one on my
Instagram.
Okay. So I have 3 or 4 shots.
What's your website, by the way?
My website is naidophoto.com.
I'll get those from you and post them on the show notes.
Okay, and actually, I don't post that shot because I'm not supposed to have that shot.
Shot.
The World Trade Center on top of the... Because Gene said, give me all the film.
I wonder what he'd do now if he saw that photo. He probably wouldn't remember.
Probably not. Living the life he lives.
Never know.
Well, he's a pretty on-the-ball guy.
Yeah.
If anyone would know, it'd be him.
Or he might say he knows. Or somebody say, hey, I heard a guy on a podcast, and he's got some of your photos, and you don't... Never know.
You never know. And so I haven't really done anything with that particular one. Yeah. But what I was going to say is, so I'm posting these 4 guys at the top of the World Trade Center. At this point, Ace is so bombed from drinking Remy Martin, which he still has in his hand. He hasn't finished the bottle. I mean, it's pretty hard to finish a bottle of Remy Martin, right? I mean, you can only
It'd
take.
be hard for me because I only drink beer. So.
Yeah, but I mean, I've had Remy Martin too, and you take one small sip, and that's enough to go home for the evening.
Right.
So Ace could hardly stand up. So there's the four of them together in the photo, and you can kind of tell that the two guys on the side of him are kind of holding him up so he doesn't fall over.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend, the penthouse pet, was standing back next to me. She couldn't be in the photo. In addition to this, there was a film crew, an Australian television crew, that was filming the whole thing. So actually, if you...
It must be on YouTube then.
Well, I was going to mention, I forgot to tell you this. If you look this up on YouTube, you can, if you look up Kiss 1979 Australian TV interview or something like that.
Are you in it?
No, I'm standing next to the cinematographer because I was taking pictures still. When we got down from the World Trade Center after the shoot, because the whole shoot took an hour. That's it. The jet was gone. That was what they wanted. Went down in the elevator, and the film crew was waiting for us. And they started asking questions. It's pretty funny. You'll enjoy watching it because you can see how drunk Ace is. They start asking questions. And as soon as Ace started to answer a question, Gene immediately cut him off and jumps in and says, no, let me do the talking. Yes, definitely. It was really bombed.
Who else did you photograph?
Like I say, Robin Williams.
Any other bands?
Rodney Dangerfield, Andy Warhol.
As far as Andy Warhol,
yeah, became pretty good friends with Andy Warhol.
Oh, really?
The Plasmatics.
Plasmatics.
The Clash.
Let me hear the Plasmatics story.
Plasmatics. I can't even remember how I met them originally, but they
That
were
was for the label.
Yeah, that was for the days of the Mud Club. Okay,
right.
And I think I saw
Punk rock days.
Yeah, I saw them at the Mud Club, and I took some pictures. And
Wendy O, I heard she was a super nice woman behind the scenes.
She was. I didn't get to know her behind the scenes, but she was really crazy. And then they played outside in New York, and they did things like, I remember they would put a police car on stage, smash it. She'd take a sledgehammer and a chainsaw and destroy the police car as they were playing. Something to see.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing. And they had a giant Star of David behind them, and I have
an upside down cross. No, I'm sorry, pentagram.
Pentagram.
That was the. Then you must have taken their photos during the album called Metal Priestess.
Probably.
She had a horn.
Yes, I have some of the horn.
Oh, did you do that? You didn't do that album cover, did you?
No. These are just live in concert shots. But anyway, became friends with them. They saw the pictures. They liked them. And I was invited. Wendy O was going to do a show in an art gallery. You know, she was an artist as well as a singer.
What was in her show?
Well, I had just met my wife, okay, and I was going to take this woman out. Thought she was very beautiful.
You're still married to her?
Still married to her.
How long have you been married?
40-something years.
Wow,
30 or 40 years.
You both still look good.
Yeah, thanks. So she was a banker, relatively conservative, right? Worked in foreign currency exchange at a bank called
You had just
Marine
met her.
Midland.
Hey, I'm a rock photographer.
I met her. Well, I had been hired by an advertising agency to photograph the annual report for this bank. And when I was photographing all the different departments in the bank, I went up to the top floor, which was the foreign trade department.
Where your current wife.
And I noticed all these guys in white shirts with the sleeves rolled up and ties. This really
hot chick,
beautiful woman. So I introduced myself. Hi, who are you?
Good move.
And it worked. Right, with 3 kids now. But anyway, so I said, "Would you like to go out on a date?" And
First
if I use those
asked her out.
Yeah.
She said yeah.
And she said yeah. So we went to took her to this place called The Furnace. The Kitchen, I can't remember that. I think it was The Furnace. A gallery down in Soho where Wendy O. Williams was doing an exhibition. Okay. And I had photographed them before, and I knew who the head of the record company was because he told me about it. And so we get to the gallery, and inside the gallery, what she had done was she had a huge collection of Barbie dolls, and she had mutilated every one of them in some manner, whether it was with spray paint, whether she had cut them apart, whether she had decapitated them, whatever. They were all on display around the gallery as artwork.
Yeah.
But she wasn't there. And I'm looking around, standing in the gallery, right, with my then girlfriend, and the head of the record company was there. I recognized him.
Was your assistant Chris with you?
No, he wasn't there. And so I'm thinking, what's happening? Something's going to happen. Just had a feeling. So I said to Janet, who is my wife.
Just wait for this.
Yeah.
Wait, watch this.
Yeah, I said, something's going to happen. And all of a sudden I heard rum, 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 like a Harley Davidson was starting up, right? But it wasn't a Harley Davidson, it was a chainsaw.
Right, yeah.
And Wendy O. Williams had been standing outside the building, chainsawed a doorway into the side of the gallery and came through.
Nice.
As that was the way she appeared.
What did your date think about that?
She's blown away with. I'm amazed we're
Now,
still together, and the place fills up with smoke and noise. It was crazy, you know.
I hope I'm not out of line, but did that impress your date enough to get lucky the first night?
Probably.
Yeah.
I can't even remember anymore, but yeah, those were.
So you have
interesting days.
those photos of Wendy O, of
Yes,
the Plasmatics?
I have some incredible.
And what were
photos.
those photos taken for? Like
Just
an
for
album
the
or
band, and
just
for
promo
albums.
shots?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, my work was featured at the time in a magazine called Art Forum magazine. Still around. It's a very well-respected magazine, and I got published in 2 different issues of Art Forum with those photos.
The Plasmatics?
Yeah, of the Plasmatics.
You still have those photos?
Yeah.
I'd love to see those.
Okay, I'll send you a few because
awesome.
I have them all digitized now, like in those
Yeah,
days
it's
it was
great.
film.
Are those on the Instagram too?
Yes. And actually, I became friends with Richie Stotts, who was the guitar player.
Yeah, I had
in
him
the
on my
Plasmatics.
podcast.
Got some great shots
Super
of him.
nice guy.
Super nice guy, exactly. Really nice. And he was, very tall, thin guy,
Yeah.
but he had this incredible
Weird
costume
look,
that
weird
he
look.
Yeah, really weird look. A mohawk. And on the part of his head that was bald, he had a tattoo of a chainsaw
right.
with blood dripping off it. I'll send you those. You'll love those.
Oh,
They look pretty good.
Man, that'd be great.
And went on to work with him when he formed his own band called King Flux.
Right, with Marky Ramone from the
Yeah,
Ramones.
so I have some really good pictures of them, and I made them look like I shot through barbed wire. I projected the
Right.
barbed wire
Did that for
pattern.
their album cover? Or?
Yeah, but I don't know if it ever came out. I don't
Okay,
know if
I
they
don't-
ever actually did an album.
I don't know.
But
Probably
anyway,
not.
they came out really well. So those are my stories.
You told me that you lived right next door to David Bowie.
Oh yeah, you want the Bowie?
Yeah,
thing?
sure. Yeah.
All right, so I had a studio at 233 West 26th Street, building's still there. And I got in at the bottom when the guy was converting the building. And, being a young photographer, I didn't have a studio or anything like that. And I wanted to open my own studio. And this guy made me a super deal, and I got half a floor in the building.
Uh-huh.
Okay, which it took 6 months to
Now,
renovate it.
Did you buy it or rent it?
I rented it and then bought it.
Oh, good investment.
And so, yeah. If I
You still own it?
No, my God, I'd
You made good money
be
off of it.
wealthy
You
if
made
I
good money from it.
Yeah, I made good money, but nothing what it would be like
Yeah,
today.
Yeah, well,
But anyway, so I had half a floor in the building. I was in Studio 2E, second floor, and across the hall, lo and behold, David Bowie took apartment 2W.
Did you know that before you got it? Or?
No, I didn't even know he was in the building. Okay, because he keeps pretty low profile, right? Didn't want people to know he was there. And above me, in apartment 3E, was Carlos Alomar,
His guitar player.
who was his guitar player. And Carlos's wife, actually, Robin, was the singer for a couple of bands that were really popular then too. I just can't think of their names off the top of my.
I should know it, but I don't.
She was with Luther Vandross, and she
Okay,
was
so
with
she's
a
an
couple
R&B
of
singer, or backup singer.
yeah, backup singer,
yeah.
and she was on. I wish I could think of the name, but it slipped my mind. Anyway, so she was a musician too. The building was full of musicians, by the way. But through Carlos and through David Bowie being in the elevator all the time, well, he was doing the Elephant Man on Broadway at that point.
Yeah.
And he would take a limo every day from our building on 26th Street down over to the theater, in Times Square. And he would dress normally wearing just, a white T-shirt, some jeans, and a book bag over his shoulder. Just look like a normal guy.
Right, so people wouldn't think he was David Bowie.
Exactly. Nothing flashy about this guy. At least not there, know. And even my wife remembers getting in the elevator and riding down with him. And he'd go outside to the front of the building and be picked up by his driver, who did not drive a limo. He drove an old Ford station wagon. Yeah. And that's how we'd take him over to the theater and bring him home afterwards.
Right, because people were expecting a limo.
Right. And he didn't want anyone to know who. He was keeping a very low profile. Yeah. Sure. And so that went on for a while. As I was saying to you, he was there until right after John Lennon was killed. John Lennon was shot, I think, in December of '81, something like that. I remember it was snowing that day. But anyway, when they arrested Mark David Chapman, who was the gentleman who killed Lennon, they found a list of people he's going to kill next, and David Bowie was on the list. I think
that's
the
why
next
David
name.
Bowie left.
2 weeks. They had 2 more weeks of performances booked at the theater, so he finished his 2 weeks there, left New York forever. He was gone.
You were friends with Carlos Alomar?
I was friends with Carlos.
Are you still friends with him?
Yes.
You still talk to him?
Oh yeah. And
where's he living now?
He lives in New Jersey now. He moved over to New Jersey. Both of us moved out of the building eventually because it just got so profitable. We both sold our lots.
Carlos Alomar, underrated guitar player.
Yeah, a great guitarist, a really good musician all around, and he's on tour now with it's called the DAM Tour, DAM, and it's in Europe, and I'm hoping they're coming to this country. And again, if you look on Instagram, you'll see that he posts every day.
Are they doing David Bowie songs? Or?
I'm not sure. I think they're doing some David Bowie songs, but some original material too, with some really talented musicians.
Okay.
But so what happened was, once David Bowie was having a birthday that year we were living there, and they gave him a party up in Carlos's loft right above mine. He invited me up, and my friend Chris, of course, again.
Carlos invited you?
Yeah, and went up there and met David Bowie. I remember stepping into the...
Any other stars at that party, you remember?
Oh, yeah, all kinds of people at that party.
You bring your wife?
No. We weren't married at that point. Okay. She was still girlfriend, and I don't think she was living with me at that point. But I remember talking to Bowie, and as I was saying to you earlier, you get kind of tongue-tied almost when you're around really famous people. Yeah, right. It's hard to figure out what to say.
You don't want to ask something stupid.
Right.
Piss him off.
And you don't want to say, I love your music. Right. Everybody says, forget it, And so I remember...
Even though that's probably the best thing to say.
I know. And
a lot of people will try to impress him with some deep knowledge, and then the guy...
Right. And I didn't want to do that either, So I was just listening to him talk, and the conversation he was in, which I was saying was he was talking about Elvis. And he was talking about the fact that Elvis was... from the South and got in trouble as a young musician himself by doing music by black musicians.
Talking music at a party.
Yeah. Okay, so the party goes on. There's a cake and a little celebration and all that, and everybody's hanging out and having drinks. And I wanted to talk to Bowie some more. I wanted just
of course.
A little bit more. Sure. And so I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to come across as a jerk. So I said, what should I say? And I thought...
That never goes well when you try to rehearse what you're going to say.
I know, and I couldn't think of it. And I'm a photographer, and I love
movies.
movies.
Say, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. And so I said to him, we were both pouring ourselves a drink at the bar. And I said to him, can I ask you a question? He says, sure. He was a very nice guy. Mm-hmm. And I said, if you could work with any film director in the world, who would you pick? Because at the time... Star Wars had come out, and Steven Spielberg had just landed on the scene, and they were the big names.
He had already been in a couple of movies already.
Right.
Fell to Earth and probably one.
Right. And
just that one.
So I didn't know who he was going to say. He said, David Weir.
David Lynch.
David Lynch.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Peter Weir.
Right.
David Lynch, which totally surprised me. Anyway. So he was very nice, and he ended up giving me tickets to see him at Madison Square Garden for 2 different nights. My wife and I went one night, and the next night we were on the side of the stage, and we got to see that. So I have some great photos of Bowie on stage.
Did your wife like the concerts?
Oh, yeah.
What did you think of the Plasmatics?
Honestly?
Yeah.
going to say, I think she hated them.
Oh, really?
But let me just say, she didn't really like them that much.
Still a cool first date.
They were very cool visually, but they were hard to like. Their music was hard to like.
I liked it. I love that. That Metal Priestess album, I love that album.
It was very violent, very expressive music. So
David Bowie, that was probably Let's Dance, right?
Let's Dance was out. Yes, that was the album.
And he had
Earl Slick was the guitarist that I saw him playing with
who replaced
in the garden.
Stevie Ray Vaughan. Yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan was on the album. Left. The story was he was only making $250 a gig, so he left, and then they brought in Earl Slick, and Carlos Alamo was the other guitar player.
Right.
I saw David Bowie in 1976 or whatever on Station to Station, first concert I ever went to without my mom. And Earl Slick was the guitar player on that tour, and they showed a movie as the opening act. It was a Fellini movie. I told you about. I don't know what the name of it is. The guy. There's a scene where they slice a guy's eye open with a razor, straight razor.
It's got a French title, Un Chant d'Angelou, or something like that. Yeah.
It kind of freaked me out as a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah, it freaks people out to this
very
cool, day.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, I became friends with Carlos, even though David Bowie left and went to London shortly after that. And Carlos recorded several albums on his own. So I did the album covers and the artwork and the photography for him.
So those album covers were shot by you.
Yes. And they're still out. I was just looking on Instagram, watching the stuff he has posted of his current European tour. And it shows him getting off stage, signing the album covers for people.
I'm glad he's still playing.
I'm glad. He's a really good musician, a really terrific guy. And he's done other things too. He's done teaching, and he's mentored a lot of people and produced other people in the studio. So he's very active and very respected in the music world.
Well, Harold, it was really cool to talk to you. I'm glad you came on this podcast.
Well, thanks, man. It's nice meeting you. And
what are we going to have for dinner tonight?
Oh, beautiful Thanksgiving dinner. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Again, how can people see your photographs and stuff?
Best way is on Instagram, LensCap, LENZCAP1.
What are you doing now? You're teaching?
I'm teaching. I live on Long Island. I'm teaching at 2 colleges there, Suffolk County Community College, Five Towns College. Occasionally at Stony Brook.
And you teach photography?
I teach photography and film and modern art.
So you have experience making movies and stuff too?
Yes.
Any movies that you made that we could...
Just music videos.
Oh, you did music videos for who?
Well, different people out there. None of them are famous.
Smaller names.
But actually did them as projects for students to show them how to do stuff like that and use different equipment.
Did you ever tell the stories to your students?
No. Because I'm too old for them. They don't know who Kiss was.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't mean anything to them. Or the Plasmatics. It was so far before their time, they haven't even heard of these bands. They can't imagine Kiss. They can't imagine Wendy O and the Plasmatics. Maybe if their parents had listened to those bands, they might have heard of them.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, they wouldn't know who I was talking about.
Harold Naideau, thank you so much for
You're
doing
welcome.
this. It's an honor to meet you, and it's really cool to hang out and talk to you at this party.
Pleasure to do.
If I didn't talk to you, I wouldn't be talking to anybody because I don't know anybody here. I'm kind of shy, and so at least I got to hang
really?
out
I
with
thought
somebody.
you knew everybody here.
I know, not really. A few people, but not many.
Well, anyway, I'm glad we met. It was a pleasure,
me
man.
too. All right, friends, thank you for listening. Please keep the donations coming. Without your donations, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled death. RockandRollGeek.com. I will post Harold's links on the show notes. I'm post this tomorrow, Harold. Is that okay?
Excellent.
All right, I'll talk to you later, friends. Have a great Thanksgiving. I'll talk to you soon.
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.